So I was talking to Larry and Sergey and Sundar about why they should split their stock and why it should get down to about $200 a share so that you and I can buy more of it, and particularly that we can put it into an education program for our children, your children. My children are too old. My grandchildren are approaching college, but maybe my great grandchildren. And I want to explain that program to you. It's a lot like a Roth IRA. So let's go into the office and sit down and talk. And because I think the guys here are probably going to be splitting their stock. So why would Google split their stock? They're selling for around $1,600 a share, and they can sell all they make. I think the real reason is the same reason why I think Jeff should split Amazon, and that is it makes it available to more people. We have had a tremendous influx of young people stepping into the stock market. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that there's a lot of people sitting at home. They don't have anything to do. They're getting tired of watching Netflix. So they're watching their computer screens and seeing what's happening in the stock market. And they're getting involved in some penny stocks and some IPOs and things they don't really know anything about. And that's not healthy. And I think that the behemoths, the big six, for those of you who are new to the channel, I believe very strongly in Amy Webb's analysis of the future of artificial intelligence and how 9 companies are going to dominate the horizon. And 3 of them are in China, and I don't particularly want to invest in China for political reasons that I just don't think it's stable. But Google is one of the big 6, as is Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, and Facebook. But Google's up around $1,600 a share. It's a word we all know. It's kind of, what do they call it? Kleenex is a facial tissue. They got a word for that. Coke is one of them too. But we all Google, wherever we do our Googling, we all Google. And Google is a progressive stock. It's one of the stocks who are going to take us into the future. I'm very excited about their involvement in healthcare. They own now Fitbit. They've just acquired another company that's going to compete with Teladoc. They are going to, along with Apple, be major players in the future of healthcare. And so they are a stock you need to own. And if you don't own it yet, buy it today. And then I want to suggest to you, we've been talking about how do you accumulate wealth, how not only to buy stocks, but get to where you get to keep more of what you make. So tax loopholes come into play, and one of the tax loopholes that wasn't around when I was raising children is a self-directed education investment program. It's commonly referred to as a Coverdell Savings Account. And what it is, it works a lot like a Roth IRA as opposed to a conventional IRA. With a conventional IRA, you make a contribution up to $6,000 a year per person, and it's tax deductible. In other words, you can deduct it from your income before you figure your taxes. On a Roth IRA, there is no deduction, but unlike a conventional IRA, when you take it out, you have to pay taxes, not only on your contribution, but all the growth that was in there. That's a traditional IRA. In a Roth IRA, you pay taxes as you put it in, but as you take it out in your retirement, you don't pay taxes on your contribution or the growth of your contribution. So where you are in taxes is how you determine which of those you take. But the Coverdell Education Savings Account works the same way as the Roth, and that is you make a contribution on behalf of your child, and it's limited to $2,000 a year, and it grows inside there. And when they take it out, it's tax-free. So let's do some math and get some idea what that amounts to. If you put let's say they're born tomorrow, and you open up the Coverdell Coverdell Education Savings Program, and maybe you lean on the grandparents and say, hey, as a birthday gift, why don't you each put up $1,000 and we'll put it in this new savings program that we've created for little Johnny here for his college education, 18 years in the future. Well, for 18 years, you can contribute, you or them or anybody else can contribute $2,000 a year. That's the maximum. I think that's a little cheap, but we got to play with the rules. Now, if you have 2 kids, you can set up 2 of these programs, 3 kids, 3 of these programs. But the money's in there, and you can buy and sell and trade on it, but you aren't paying taxes, okay? And then when they reach 18, you have to stop contributing. So let's say they take a gap year and they go to school then when they're 20. They then go to that account and they withdraw it to pay their room, board, their tuition, any sort of college expenses, anything relative to college. And it is tax-free. Now, another hook in it, they have to take it out before they're 30. If they take it out and for something other than education, they're going to pay taxes, and they could pay up to a 10% penalty. But let's say they don't go to college. They choose not to go to college, and so they are spent. But you have another child who is going to college. They can access that savings account the same way as the child that didn't go to college would have. So it's a win-win. And again, I think it plays into my theory that we invest in good companies, but we also invest smart so that we get to keep more of what we make. We're smart investors, so let's invest in stocks like Google. Let's invest in stocks like Amazon and Apple and Tesla. Smart, big company. Think of it, it's a privilege. It is a privilege that we get to own part of these companies. It used to be the companies before stocks, they just grew on their own, they got wealthy, and they didn't share it with us. Well, this is a way we can share in their good fortune, their good knowledge. Look, Sergey and Larry, they've pretty much stepped out of it. They've turned it over to other people to grow this company. But this is a behemoth. This is a company that isn't sitting on its laurels and saying, okay, all we're going to do is sell advertising when Carrie searches on Google. No. They're taking Larry and Sergey's efforts have gone towards what they call the moonshots. They have different divisions within Alphabet, which is Google, that work on different programs. They have a flying car. They have an autonomous car. They have Fitbit. They've just bought a company to monitor our health. They are leaders of the future. And if you don't know what the future is going to look like, you need to read this book. It is The Future is Faster Than You Think. You'll find links to these books in the description. And in here, you're going to hear them mention Google constantly as to what they're doing and how they're going to fit into your future. And the number one parameter for my investing is, are they going to change the way I live in the future? Think about that. If they're going to change the way that I live in the future, I need to own part of them. Sears and Roebuck? No, they lost it. Eastman Kodak used to be a leading company. I worked for Polaroid. They're all gone because they didn't focus on changing the way Carrie is going to live in the future. And then you need to understand demographics. The 79 million of us baby boomers are dying. I remember I read something, Harry Dent had predicted this market would collapse in 2016 because the baby boomers were going to start taking all their money out of the stock market and putting it in bonds and treasuries. That didn't work out, Harry. And if you're going to invest and the baby boomers are aging, you need to invest in cruise lines and then wait about 10 years and then invest in nursing homes and then invest in those, what do they call those centers where they send you to die, and then invest in graveyards. That was Harry's investment theory. It didn't work out that way, Harry. We've had some issues that come up, and us baby boomers are going to live longer than you can imagine. So let's get on the bandwagon and get Google to split their shares, get it down to somewhere around $300-400 a share, and let's create a Coverdell savings program for self-directed for our children. And if you're beyond childbearing age, then talk to your children and set it up for your grandchildren. You can do that too.